Shalom, Yasharala. This your brother Dawud Daw from GMS Tampa Bay #07, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rachah, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that taught me this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, I can pushing this truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. All right. So we're going to jump into, actually, I got two articles here real quick dealing pretty much with the same thing as we see the rapid decline of America here, all right? And, hey, we just pretty much count down the days, man, pretty much, So this one here says, Russia, Turkey, and Iran speeding up efforts to drop the U.S. dollar from trade, all right? And, hey, like I said, we getting closer and closer to, the economic collapse, the RFID chip in World War III, because these trade wars lead to real wars or hot wars, It says, in response to U.S. sanctions, Russia, Turkey, and Iran are negotiating the reduction of the U.S. dollar's share in mutual trade. Tehran Times Daily quoted the country's central bank governor as saying. Basically, hang on, let me read the next paragraph real quick. It says, eliminating the greenback in mutual trade was most recently discussed by the three countries last weekend in Tehran during trilateral summit of Syria ceasefire, said Iranian central bank governor. I can't pronounce this guy's name, as quoted by the media. So basically, look, you got these three powerhouses over here, and really you have, this is a crazy mix of people, and it's more than just these three countries, but and which we'll get that in the other article, but with these three countries, who do you have here? You have Turkey, which is a NATO ally, which is on the fence with America right now with the S-400 system and the F-35, and also this these spies, basically, that are in prison on both sides, and then also being charged basically with the failed coup attempt in not Venezuela, but Turkey. Okay, so these are some of the scuffles that you got going on between America and one of their so-called allies and NATO, Turkey. Then you have Iran, all right, who's a prime target, who America wants to, go in there and destroy, not only America, but Israel. They want to go in there and take over Iran. This is what this big buildup and waging the war is getting closer and closer to go, take Iran next. They're the next people in line for the target. That's why you're going to keep hearing them more and more in these articles and things like that. They got to fulfill prophecy as well. All right. And the third player in there, you have Russia, who we know is going to play a major part in this World War III. All right. And being a guardian to these other nations. All right. So you have a crazy little mix here, all right? You have the people that we so-called allies with that we can't really trust so much, all right? Then you have the country who we, got in our targets next to invade. And then you got the so-called big bad wolf that's holding everything all together, It says, we have decided to proceed with further works in light of agreements reached with a meeting at the Russian central bank governor in Moscow. Khamenei was quoted as saying, according to Khamenei, the topics discussed also include oil and gas prices, expansion of banking ties, and strengthening economic relations. So what you have really going on behind the scenes is, these countries are preparing for the downfall of Babylon the Great, America. They're trying to set up a system, all right, basically rewire the system with America wired out of it. It's like, all right, so, we upgrading, okay, so like you got a house, right? And you had the old way of going. You had everything in the house wired and, you had a telephone line and everything like that. So now you're coming into the future, And so you had these old telephone lines and so on and so forth, all these cables in the house, right? And now, you got Wi-Fi, you got, internet, this, Bluetooth, that, everything wireless now, right? But then you got to go through and restructure your house around this new system without the wires. And now you remove the wires. So this is what you have going on. They're trying to restructure the house, buying new appliances or whatever, whatnot. Okay, we going shopping. So the new shit that we buying, all right, so we about to go shopping, right? Now, we're not going to go buy no old school TV with no old coaxial cable cord to go in because we're not on that system no more. We're going to go buy a new TV that's a smart TV and it's got Wi-Fi built in because the new system is wireless. And the new shit is this anyway. So they trying to build a new system. You see what I'm saying? And while they shopping and building this system based with America outside the picture, all right? So it says Russian President Vladimir Putin and Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan and their delegation visited Tehran last week for a trilateral summit on Syria, and also to discuss expansion of ties. Earlier, Erdogan described Turkey's lira recent plunge to a record low as a currency plot and announced its readiness to get rid of the dollar and the country's trade with its partners. And really what that's saying is like, you know what, that's according to the scriptures is, the beast is going to hate the whore, NATO, Turkey is a part of NATO, but what they didn't openly say here is America has basically a trade war on Turkey as well. America is devaluing their currency, their lira. All right. So it says, earlier Erdogan described the Turkish lira recent plunge to the lira's plunge. Okay. That's America's trade war on them. That's they little psyop, you know what I'm saying? They shit they got going on. They deceitful ways. All right. And announced his readiness to get rid of the dollar and the country's trade with its partners. It says Erdogan said the dollar was an obstacle for the Turkish economy. He urged the Turks to gradually end the monopoly of the dollar once and for all by using local and national currency among us. All right, so basically they trying to cut America out the picture. They like, listen, all right, we basically, it's like you in a relationship. You and your, if you a girl, you with your man, and if you're a man, you with your woman, right? And you're like, all right, so check it out. You know what I'm saying? We got this apartment together, but we finna split, and the split finna come. So you be like, all right, let me start making arrangements. Let me go ahead and start looking for my own spot. All right, looking for my own ways of getting around, make sure I can afford this and that, making preparations for my next move before I have to make that move, right? So that's what you see the Turks doing right now. They like basically, all right, look, me and my girlfriend in America, we finna break up, right? And we stay together. You know what I'm saying? We her shit at my house, that type of shit, you know what I'm saying? They got their nukes over here or whatever, whatnot. We got to use their dollar and so on and so forth, But basically now we trying to make scenarios to where we ain't got to work with each other, You look like, oh, it's me and my girlfriend, we got joint bank accounts, right? Now I got to go down to the bank, all right, go get me a new bank account with a whole new bank, all right, and get separate accounts now. And this is exactly what Turkey is doing. Not just Turkey, but, these countries, and they're urging other people to do the same, let's build our own currency. And China is also in the business of helping back in these other countries as well, all right? So real quick, we're going to grab another article real fast, all right, that shows the future of this, according to what these Edomites are saying. Then we're going to grab it here in the scriptures, all right? It says the U.S. dollar just a few short years away from losing global dominance, investor Jim Rogers tells RT. All right, and basically, at the end of this here, dollar is what? That RFID chip, all right? That's the new economic way of going, all right? They plan on crashing this here economy and forcing you with that RFID chip, which is the mark of the beast, all right? And then, but at the end of all of that, it comes what? In just a regular carnal sense. You start with these trade wars. America not going to take that. Oh, you're not going to devalue our dollar like that, so our money is worth nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because what gives America its value is how many other countries is holding their dollars. All right? You know how they say, well, the more money they print, the more value, so-called, it has because of its fiat currency, more or less to say. That's just how much they have in currency, but really it devalues it. But Salakia. America counts their money value as how much is in circulation. So that's the value of their so-called money. All right. But instead, really, it would be, their money is getting devalued the more of it there is in circulation. But, because of the fact that the money that's in circulation isn't here on American soil, that's what so-called gives it its money, its value, among these other nations, because it's used as a petrodollar, the reserve and trade and all of that. All right. So, jumping into this here scripture, it says, or this here article says, the United States is the largest debtor nation in the world. It is getting worse and worse, according to investment guru Jim Rogers, who talked to RT on the sideline of the Eastern Economic Forum in Vladivostok. All right. So basically, you know what I'm saying? It says the U.S. is the world's largest debtor nation. All right. So like, yo, hey man, I believe what's the statistic? It's like you can combine all the other nations' debt combined, and it's nowhere near America. We'll just keep it at that. It's like nowhere near America's. All right, like America is like, the debt that they tell you. You know what I'm saying? I stopped looking at that shit, man. But it's like 21, 22 trillion or some shit like that, which they tell you of. All right, but when you actually go into those numbers, It's like 220 something trillion. All right, it's just like ridiculously crazy, and it's getting even more and more as every day goes by. And in fact, I believe I heard a story just a couple days ago that they took that damn clock down off the side of the building because I mean the numbers are just getting absurd now. All right, I'm pretty sure they still got it up online if you want to take a look at where it's at right now. But you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, America's just going further and further and further in their debt. And like I said, the way that they view their so-called currency for these elites that know banking, they want more and more people to get their money, so they want to keep printing money at all means. They want to give out as many loans as possible because to them, all right, that is giving money value to their money. Well, it is giving value to their money because what it is it's a debt. You getting a loan, you know what I'm saying? So the more money they loan your ass, the more money collected with interest they getting back. So that's why it gives value to them. But in actuality, the more currency you actually have is devaluing your shit. But nevertheless, you see what I'm saying? America's the largest debtor nation. You know what I'm saying? And this shit, in the real world, hey man, people can't keep going on and on and on like this. All right, you making everybody else poor, but you keep creating this fake ass currency, devaluing everybody else's shit. Eventually, just everything is gonna collapse. All right. So it says, so you would say, so would you say, why do you own it, U.S. currency? I own it because more turmoil is coming. People look for a safe haven in turmoil, so they will go to the dollar. It's not safe, but they think it is. The investor explains that the U.S. currency is going to get higher, but many countries like China, Iran, and Russia and others are trying to get rid of it. All right. So yeah, you know what I'm saying? Hey, people are jumping onto this system because they so-called see these trends going up, but it's a how do you say? It's like a bubble. All right. And like what we're going to grab in the scriptures, you're going to basically see how this shit's just going to basically come to naught all at once. You see what I'm saying? And it's going to, hey man, it's going to be devastating. All right. And you already see it. You know what I'm saying? You starting to see, like, beforehand, you've been watching this here pot of water sit on the stove forever. All right. That's how this here economy was. But now you're starting to see the heat. You're starting to see them little small bubbles. All right. Now we get into that process to where it's about to start boiling over. All right. You're starting to see these countries starting to recognize and look at the so-called economic woes and things like that, and trade wars and all this popping off, dealing with global economics. All right, this is when this is starting to get shaky and start to collapse. All right, it says in the next few years, the American dollar is going to lose its position as the world reserve currency and the world's medium of exchange, Rogers said, adding that the world has always moved away from the dominant currencies in the past as situations changed. All right. And like I was saying, like with this petrodollar, you see what I'm saying? Like, hey man, when you're trying to trade, and especially in the Esau Swift system, when you're trying to move currency, man, you need that American dollar to be able to do that. All right, that's how they dealing with trade and all of that. All right, into this American dollar, which gives the American dollar its value. So once you understand this, you understand why so-called these stories about people with currency wars and what the hell that means. Like, if you increase your currency value here in America, what the hell that got to do with the Chinese who's using their money? All right. But see, what you have to understand is that these things are well, what they really dealing with is the, the currency or the means in which you can globally trade with, because they have systems set up like that. So like right now, we in a transition, but not to say technically, but basically you have only one system. All right, you need that American dollar to be able to do trade. All right, you want to trade internationally and stuff like that, or move and trade and buy and move in oil and like high dollar commodities. You need the American dollar. All right, therefore these other nations need that shit, but they all are what at ends with America right now. So they like cutting out a new plan. Like I said, look, they breaking up with their girlfriend. All right, so they starting to look at other apartments right now. They like, all right, so I got to get this apartment over here. All right, and then cut back on this and get that working. All right. He said that the British pound once used to be the dominant currency in the world, and before that, there were other dominant currencies like the Spanish peso and the French franc and the Dutch guilder. It says they all had their position at one time or another, but went to excess and not that sound anymore. Like I was saying, hey, well, just like in anything, when you look at things like this, these civilizations like that, man, the more and more granular they get, man, the weaker they become. All right, you done spread yourself so fucking far you can't sustain yourself. your dollar then got so-called so big and so great, so so, how do I say, so big, you know what I'm saying? You didn't collapse everybody else's economy with your dollar. What you think they gonna do? They gonna band together and just knock you off so they can start breathing again. All right. It says people don't like Washington's power, so they're moving away and finding ways to get away from the dollar. See, finding ways to get away from it, like they ensnared in this trap. All right. It has happened throughout history. It has happened to the pound sterling, and you know the rest of the story. Roger said, adding that there's no need to worry because it's not a disaster. Really, it is gonna be it's not gonna be a disaster because this shit's gonna all fall all at once. All right, and it ain't gonna return. It says he cited Russia and Turkey as examples of countries that are now starting to trade with each other directly in their own currency. Everybody is now trying to get rid of the U.S. dollar. All right, everybody is starting to recognize, and this great whore is being revealed to who she is. All right, it says, talking about the possible alternative currencies which could replace the greenback, Roger says, the only one I see is on the horizon is China's renminbi yuan. But not anytime soon. The renminbi is not even convertible yet, so it is impossible for a while. All right. The investor added that we would have a regional currency for a while, but there's no sense of having 2 or 3 dominant currencies. And really, China's in a move to starting to be in that type of position to be able to, like, how do I say, for an analogy, you know, China is, hang on one second. China is posturing themselves in a position to become like a global powerhouse for economics. All right, like dealing with currency trade and things like that. So like how the scriptures say in Ezekiel 38, Russia gonna be a garden to these other nations, you know. And when you go into that, it's more or less militarily wise. Or as you see in the same setting and setup right now, China's doing the same thing, but what economically? They are creating the backbone for these how do I say, these currencies to start flourishing. All right. So we're gonna read about this whole scenario right here in the book of Revelation chapter 18. All right. It says Revelation chapter 18 and verse 1, it says, after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. All right. Talking about this place where we living in now, right here, what they call America. All right. Babylon the great. All right. So it says, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. All right, so just in a nutshell, you know what I'm saying? Just reading that in a nutshell, basically all these other nations came up off her, you know what I'm saying? But it says, for all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. So like if we go back to Revelation chapter 17, you know what I'm saying? They break down this whore, right? Having in her hand this cup full of abominations, you know, and all these other nations basically drinking from her cup. You know what I'm saying? Now, this cup that they talking about says, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. All right, so basically, like, they all partook right there with her, you know, and all the bullshit she was in. You know, America set certain policies and this and that. These other nations follow after it. America okay certain things. America follow after it. Let's say, for instance, so America talking about like previously and Duma, right, and in Syria, right? America was basically like well, actually I don't think America was at the front of that, but behind the scenes, you know, it's America at the front of that shit anyway. America was like you know, we're gonna go over there and bomb Syria, right? Then they had these other nations, France and what was it, France and Germany? I think it was France and Germany. They went in there and bombed with America. You see what I'm saying? So like these other nations, hey dog, if you down to go do it, I'm down to go do it with you. You know what I'm saying? If that's how you get money, shit, let me in on the lick, bro. I ride with you, shit. Let me get a cut. These other nations waxing rich right along with her, you know, with all her bullshit fornication, her doctrines. You know what I'm saying? Telling, spreading this, how do you say, homosexuality stuff. You know what I'm saying? What these articles is talking about, they trade and they, how do you say, they, you know, when they sit down and write these little agreements, you know what I'm saying? These trade agreements and things like that. When they put all these things together, all right, so look, this is going to work out for the best for me, you, and them if we just do things this way. All right, if we put this here pipeline through your country, and skip their country, this will work out for all of us. So these other nations then came up off of America for a while. But now these other nations is how do I say, not necessarily saying becoming low. They already been, how do you say, sucked dry of all their resources and depleted through America's conquest of the rest of the world, you know? So these other nations, they was beat down damn near weak, but what? Russia started coming to their aid, bringing them back up, you know, and now the weak are starting to say that they're strong, you know? That's why you're starting to see these other countries branch off to get their different currencies. You know, they're starting to, or not just currencies, but military weapons and breaking ties with America. You know, you starting to see everybody, like I said, you dating this chick, man. You know what I'm saying? Or your neighbors, you know, you got these neighbors, they dating a boyfriend and a girlfriend. Now all of a sudden you peeping them over there, right? And you starting to see the moving truck over there, like, oh shit, why homeboy moving his shit out? You know what I'm saying? I've been noticing, you know what I'm saying, every night. You know, they normally stay together, you know what I'm saying? But every night one of them leave, you know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm starting to see certain signs. You starting to see signs. Oh, they about to break up. Oh, they finna move out. Hell yeah, the moving truck there. Oh yeah, they done for. You know, that's basically what you see going on here. All right. And it says, and the kings of the earth have committed fornications with her. Yeah, like I was speaking on Germany and France, you know what I'm saying? And all these other countries going in these other nations and taking spoil from out there, you know? They going out here and taking all these different lands and resources about these other nations, you know? It says, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. All right. And so what? America, which is Babylon the Great, is a consumer nation. America is basically, you know what I'm saying? It's like I use this analogy in a prior video. It's like an obese, fat, greedy person just at an all-you-can-eat buffet. All it does is just devour everything fed to it. And all the other nations are just like chefs in the kitchen or chefs at the table preparing meals from their country. Whatever country or whatever, you know, that country produces, that chef is cooking up. So whatever your resource is, you know what I'm saying, that country's cooking up. And America just sit there and eat it all up. Hence, look at China. Everything here in America, damn near say made in China. You know what I'm saying? We got more of they damn products and more of the shit that they make than they got on their own streets. You know, you'll see some shit here in America that we'll see as a staple of American culture or icon here in America that people in China don't even know nothing about. They're like, what the fuck is that? Lo and behold, when you look at the tag, it say made in China. They're like, well, it was made from y'all motherfuckers. How you not know what this is? How we got it? You know? America just, how do you say, not suck all the life from these, it does suck all the life from these other nations, but it fulfills all how do I say, shipment orders. You know, all these other nations basically are servants, you know. They just, you know, produce. And America does what? Consume, you know. But all in all, you know, it's like a love-hate relationship, you know. Like I said, one nation sit there and slave all damn day, i.e. China. All right, the majority of their civilization is workers and stuff like that, you know. India and stuff like that, where you see these countries that you think are third world countries, those are the countries supplying you, you know. How spiritual and indicative to that, you know. Like when these goddamn Edomites talk shit about Jake, you know, all these goddamn Mexicans, these wetbacks, they need to learn how to speak English. They need to go back to their country and they always taking our jobs. But lo and behold, right when they having that same ass conversation, you know, it might be like, you know, one of the Southern Kingdom come bring their food out on a you know, as a server or some shit like that. But who in the back cooking up their meal, that so-called good-ass meal, is Fat Boy over here wiping his mouth of eating whatever the fuck he eating. You know what I'm saying over here? Oh, yeah, that was a good-ass meal. Oh, Lord. Thank you, God, for this meal made by these wonderful Caucasians out here. Not knowing, you know, he don't even know the character of his own people. You don't know, you know, Caucasians ain't gonna be he ain't gonna be working like that, man. Second of all, they ain't got no flavor, so you damn sure ain't gonna be satisfied off of the damn taste of their food. Third of all, you know, your people hold us in captivity, you know, but we the ones, you know, in the kitchens and stuff like that. But nevertheless, you know what I'm saying? That's just how it is, you know. It's the same. How do I say? It's like the same damn parallel. You know, you got us sitting over here building up your damn nations and stuff like that. But hey, that's Babylon the Great. It says, the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. All right, and like I said, hey, that's where we at now with this trade war deal. You know. Well, they already waxed rich, you know, they was straight for a while, but then they starting to see, hey man, this shit costing me a little bit more money now that I can afford. Now, you know what I'm saying, they counting the cost and they're like, you know what, this ain't really beneficial to us. All right. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that you be that ye be not partakers of her sins, that you receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and Yahweh have remembered her iniquities. All right. So basically, that's a word to the wise, the wise of our people. It says, come out of her, my people, so you be not partakers of her sins. All right. And what does that mean? Don't mean necessarily, not to say necessarily, it don't mean flee literally out of the land. You know what I'm saying? Don't, it's not saying, get a passport and bounce up out of America. Nah, because really through the scripture, we know that the climax of the movie gonna be right here in America. All right. This is where the main event gonna go down. This is where salvation gonna take place in the mainstream. All right. They got that prophecy to say, hey, look, man, in them days, we're not gonna speak about how the Most High delivered our fathers up out of the land of Egypt, but we're gonna talk about how the Most High delivered us out of the land of the north. All right. So it says I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sin, that you receive not her plagues, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and Yahweh hath remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she has rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works. And the cup which she hath filled, fill to her double. How much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her, for she hath said in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death, mourning, famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is Yahweh who judgeth her. All right, so basically, the Most High is basically calling America out over here. All right, it says, look, your sins have reached up unto heaven. All the things that you've done, you know what I'm saying, is coming back upon you. All your karma coming back. This is basically like in let me grab that quick precept real quick. This is Job 20 and 19. Because he hath oppressed and hath forsaken the poor, because he hath violently taken away a house which he builded not. Surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly, he shall not save of that which he hath desired. So shall none of his meat be left, therefore shall no man look for his goods. All right. It says, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits, every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. When he is about to fill his belly, Yahweh shall cast fury of his wrath upon him, and he shall rain it upon him while he is eating. All right. So basically, you know what I'm saying? Hey, look, all that, you wax real rich with all the abundance, you know what I'm saying, of the earth from basically devouring all these other nations and eating off these other nations. The Most High said, look, your sins have reached up unto heaven. Reward her even as she has rewarded you. All right. So like we were reading here as well, again, just imagine the analogy I was given beforehand. You got the fat man at the damn table at this all you can eat buffet, just scoffing down all the foods from all these other nations that they preparing, right? But now all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying, now these other nations is dry and depleted. They ain't got no more foods, no more resources, nothing else left to give. You know what I'm saying? And the fat man still wants some more food, and he can't even finish stuffing down his last little bit. You know what I'm saying? And he's still yelling, where's some more food, But now he got that turned up look in his face, And now he about to start throwing it all back up, He in the fullness of his sufficiency, when he damn near full, about done stuffing his damn face, that's when he gonna throw it all back up, So jumping back over to Revelation chapter 18, it says, I'm gonna read verse 6 and 7 again. It says, actually, I'm gonna just start at verse 6 and just keep on continuing down. It says, reward her even as she has rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works, and the cup which she hath filled, fill unto her double. Again, you scoffing down all these other nations' resources and stuff like that, depleting these other nations, killing them. Look at Iraq. Look at Vietnam. Look at every nation on the planet Earth, put it that way. Look at the children of Israel. All right, all that you didn't took, you're going to have to restore. All right, all the things that you've done is going to have to be repaid unto you. All right, like the scripture also say, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. All right, so you got to pay for all the things you've done. All right, but you got to pay for it double. All right, it says, in the cup which she hath filled, fill to her double. How much she have glorified herself and lived deliciously. All right, because America's the golden city. sitting on top of all these other nations, more abundant than all these other nations. All right, it says so much torment and sorrow give her. All right, yeah, and that's what these nations prepare for. Look at what's going on in the news with Russia and these other nations. The same nations that's, like I said, they like dealing with their girlfriend. They starting to move the fuck up out the house. They making arrangements. That's what Turkey and Iran and Russia and them doing, and China with these other nations. It says, for she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. And that's indicative to that, let's make America great again. No, we're going to be number one again. We're going to still be here. No, man. Truth be told, look at everything, man. You done for, man. You cast out. You done for, man. Your time is done. It's time for you to just fade to black. Well, really fade to that damn lake of fire. It says, therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is Yahweh who judges her. And hey, that's why I said, currency wars turn to hot wars. You got info wars with propaganda and stuff like that. Currency wars where they manipulate and try to, basically it's like in the olden days, what a real currency war is. Really, it's the old tactic and battle back in the days of Israel, when they would, besiege a city. First and foremost, they would go camp around about the damn city, all right, because they got these huge ass walls and whatnot. They got home field turf and whatever, but what you would do is you would come in, you cut off their water supply. They probably have a river or something like that was, or like a well or something like that was bringing them water to the city, but what they would do is they would cut off the water supply. All right. Hey, man, when people don't have no water, they get weak. When they get weak, you know what I'm saying? They can die of dehydration. All right. Not only that, if they had any crops or anything, they was, getting with that. Hey, what you think is going to happen to those? Not only that, but if you importing food from the outside, all right, then what's going to happen? If you can't get no food brought in, all right, your people going to start starving, all right, bringing it on a famine. So basically that's how it was in, in the olden days. It was more or less how you could say a trade war, because you're cutting off trade and imports and exports, mainly imports coming into the city for them to be able to survive, mainly like they food and water, things like that. But what's indicative to people needing a so-called actual food and water, their resources being that they can actually make some money for their country to be self-sustainable or somewhat of some kind of player on a damn block. They don't want to be a goddamn country where they so poor they can't feed their civilians, or they so damn poor that they can't afford a military, so they can't defend themselves. These countries, they got good resources. They can do good on their own. They don't need to be caught in Esau's snares, all right? It says, and the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her, for they shall see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is her judgment come. All right? And it says, and the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth her merchandise anymore. All right? So it says, back in verse 9, it says, and the kings of the earth who have committed fornications and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see her burning. All right. And then also down in 11, hey, why they crying? It says, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore. All right. And so, like, hey, when you go into the statistics on China and America's relationship when it comes to trade, America alone, well, put it this way, if America stopped buying from China, all the other countries that buy from China could not, fill the void that America was holding up, and vice versa. If America stopped buying from China, all right, on the American side, as far as imports, all the other countries alone could not sustain America's need for their imports. All right. So this is one of the reasons that these nations are going to be kind of like sad off, because what the fuck is China? What is China's identity if America ain't around, What do you know, as Americans, we perceive China as what? So-called sweatshop workers, slaves, and things like that, Why? Because that's we know, not to say we know that's exactly what they all the things that they do, but shit, America got everything made in China, so we know it's got to come from somewhere, everything built over there, So if just think about this. If China and America, America stopped buying from China or got imports from China, all right, and then all these Chinese factories or companies, all right, didn't have their shipments to go out. Let's just say that it's a Chinese company that just solely make let's say, I don't know if this is true or not or whatever. I'm gonna just use this as an example. Let's say China makes all the Nikes, all the Nike shoes ever, and that's that's a big staple and a powerhouse for China's economy. They employ so many people at the Nike place, right? So let's just say they stop dealing with each other, and so or America's not there to buy that product there no more. What's gonna happen to all those so-called Nike employees that's over in China? They already kind of in low class, poor conditions, working as it is, and now you bringing them to unemployment. You know what I'm saying? And now more and more companies, and there's an abundance of people being unemployed. So you really don't have the jobs like that over in China. It's gonna wind up destroying the economy. You're gonna have more and more people on so-called welfare and being assisted with certain things that now you got a whole population of people unemployed. All right, because the majority of their employment goes to what? Service in America. All right, so this is why these nations. One of the reasons why these nations is crying over America. All right, they crying first and foremost over the fear of these damn nukes dropping down. But mainly, like it says here, it says in verse 11, it says, "The merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore." All right, give me 1 second. And so these other nations, like I said, hey, they gonna mourn because they don't have nobody so-called sustaining them on that so-called global trade. It's like you got one person. Again, like let's just say any of these countries hypothetically make their whole living off of just one thing, and they basically getting cut off. They gonna basically turn into a Venezuela, but not by force of are we trying to overthrow your government? Basically because we ain't got nobody. Venezuela got oil, but they not really in control of their damn oil. All right, so therefore they can't really eat off of that cash cow product that they have. All right, it says I will read verse 9 again. "And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning." All right. And so, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, one of those countries you think of is China. Hey, who the fuck gonna buy all this product now? Who gonna get all these goods? And then also look at the damn fear of it. Look at the damn lake of fire that's become. The whole earth gonna reel to and fro. It says, "Standing afar off for the fear of the torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, the mighty city, for in 1 hour is her judgment come." I actually skipped something. No, it didn't. Yeah, I did skip some. Verse 12. Actually, I am, for time's sake, I'm gonna skip verse 12. Um, 12 on down. Because they talk about the things that was traded here in America, basically going into a damn near everything. Like I said, everything here in America made in China. All right, so these are all import export items that's coming in and out of America that these other nations is gonna be so-called mad about. So it says jumping down back onto where I was at. It says so we read verse 15 on down to we'll read verse 15 again. No, verse 14. It says, "And the fruits of thy soul lusted after, and the fruits that thy soul lusted after are departed from thee, and all the things that were dainty and goodly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all." Like we was reading over in Job 20, all right? All them things you done swallowed down, man, you gonna vomit it back up, man. You're not gonna be able to hold on to that. It says, "The merchants of these things which were made rich by her shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing, and saying, Alas, alas, that great city that was clothed in fine linen, and purple and scarlet, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. For in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught. For every shipmaster and all the company of ships and sailors and as many as trade by sea stood afar off." It says, "And cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, What city is like unto this great city?" All right, so basically, you know what I'm saying? Like, we speaking about trade wars and things like that. You just get an image of the ports, where shipment come in with those big shipping container ships. You see all these ships coming in and out, in and out, in and out. Those ships are coming from overseas. Those are, basically billions and billions of dollars of items coming in, to hit the shelves of the stores over here, which is sustaining the whole economy of these other countries. All right. But, all in one day, when these nations can't sell their goods no more, they're like, fuck, who gonna buy this shit now? You know what I'm saying? I can't be selling to this nigga next to me. This nigga over here borrowing money too. So he ain't even got no money. How are we gonna survive, But that's why you're starting to see these other nations under China starting to try to set up a new economic system, all right, so they can cut America out and have a smooth transition, all right? It says, verse 19, and they cast dust upon their heads and cry, weeping and wailing, saying, alas, that great city wherein we were made rich, and all that had ships in the sea by reason of her costliness, for 1 hour she made desolate, all right? So again, this is why they mourning, because what? Trade, over trade issues. All right. If you thinking that because America getting nuked and these other nations is looking at this shit like, fuck, we can't get no more trade up off of her, they mad at that. They definitely mad about that. That's the end all be all, coming back from that. But, not to say how much more, but when you think they would be mad, what I'm saying, when things are starting to get disrupted, they already like the constant flow of money. Not to say they eating like that, but they like whatever they got for right now, you know what I'm saying? But to cut it all off abruptly, you know what I'm saying, that's going to be devastating. They got to, that, and again, that's why they doing what you see in these articles. They trying to create a new system so that the transition won't be so harsh. It says, rejoice over her, thou heaven. Let me read verse 19 again. And they cast dust upon their heads and cry, weeping and wailing, saying, alas, alas, that great city, which is America, wherein were made rich, that all had ships in the sea, all right, by reason of her costliness, all right. So basically, all the nations who did some kind of shipping and trade with America, all right, they the ones that's gonna be so-called mourning, because why? There ain't nobody buying their goods no more. It says, for 1 hour is she made desolate, and so basically that would be like the equivalent, to like let's say a drug dealer who is a drug dealer in this one area, right? Big drug dealer, right? But then now all of a sudden, he got all these crackheads, crack fiends, whatever, or these drug addicts buying his drug, right? But now all of a sudden these drug addicts ain't no more drug addicts. They just all clean the fuck up, And he just like, whoa, shit, who gonna buy my product now? I got all this weight I'm just sitting on, and ain't nobody around. I mean, don't nobody do drugs no more, That's pretty much what's going through the minds of these nations. They're like, fuck, man, if don't nobody else do drugs and I got these drugs and all I know how to do is sell drugs, what the hell am I gonna do from here on out? All right, that's why I gave the analogy of you and your girlfriend finna split up. You already start making arrangements to make that transition. And again, that's what you see these other nations doing, so they don't want to being like, yo, we selling drugs, but now tomorrow, all we did our whole life and know how to do is sell drugs, but tomorrow we wake up, there ain't no more drug users, Now what the fuck do? We sitting on this shit. You can't sell the shit. You know what I'm saying? You don't know how to do nothing else. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be in a, damn, how I'm going to continue on, how I'm going to eat, It says, rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets, for Yahweh hath avenged you on her. And a mighty angel took up a great stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, thus with violence shall the great city Babylon be thrown down and found no more at all. And the voice of the harpers and the musicians and the pipers and the trumpeters shall be heard no more at all in thee. And no craftsman of whatsoever craft he be shall be found no more in thee. And the sound of the millstone shall be heard no more at all in thee. And basically that's talking about your how do you say, your what do they call that shit? Your workforce, not your workforce, your basically dealing with employment and shit. All your shit's coming down, man. Your whole society and your systems is crashing. You seeing a lot of people, well, they claiming that a lot of people getting jobs, but these ain't real jobs and sustainable jobs. These motherfuckers is counting Uber and shit as a job. You know what I'm saying? But whatever. Literally the whole U.S. population can sign up on Uber. You know what I'm saying? And all the U.S., 100% of the U.S. could be employed. But it don't mean you're going to make your ends meet. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, you know what I'm saying? Really, unemployment is high. Underemployment is super high. All right, all these different things is how do I say, is at play right now. Companies are shutting down. These industries and things like that economically ain't moving no more. All right. Then you see trade wars, which is further driving up the price of certain resources, which is causing a lack of sales, which is causing for a lack of profit, which is getting more and more layoffs. All right. It says, that's basically all the damn work coming to a cease. Grinders coming to a cease. It says, verse 23, and the light of the candle shall shine no more at all in thee, and the voice of the bridegroom and the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee, for thy merchants were great men of the earth, for by thy sorceries were all nations deceived. And that light is what? Talking about that information. Basically, America got in all these other nations. Everybody else look up to America for their guidance. What is America doing? Whatever they doing, we got to be doing. Whatever they say, they all right, But what? It says, and the light of thy candle shall shine no more at all in thee. All right. And so now, like the scripture also says, thou become weak as we. Let the weak say I'm strong. All right. It says, for thy merchants were great men of the earth, for by thy sorceries were all nations deceived. Yeah, not only did you didn't have just regular ass niggas with you, man. You was using all kind of demonic ass witchcraft to put a gigantic ass spell over the whole damn earth to glorify and magnify your damn self. Basically, this rulership here was basically the devil on the damn earth, him damn self, embodied on the damn earth with all his tricks out right now. Well, with all his tricks out. And really right now you're starting to see him pull out all the rest of his shit. It says, and in her was found the blood of the prophets and the saints and all that were slain upon the earth. And, hey, that's just America, all right? They got the damn prophets slain over here from transatlantic slave trade all the way up to this damn day, where the so-called Black Lives Matter movement, so-called be talking about, Freddie Grays and so on and so forth, But with that, you know what I'm saying? Just looking at the times that we in, and you seeing these things come to pass, these articles and things like that, they just not for nothing, these things are actually spoken about in the scriptures, all these things, basically have to come to pass. These prophecies we talk about have to come to pass. But what? We starting to see them all sign, piece by piece in the news starting to build up. All right. So Lord willing, that was edifying into the elect. I'm gonna go ahead and close that one out and say, Kal Halal Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shah, Bahashim Rokak Wadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders, the great millstone, and taught me this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, Akim, pushing this truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Stay strong. Shalom.